Let's just jump right into this explainer, guys, because today we're unpacking what I call the invisible trap of modern digital gambling. And honestly, we're dedicating some extra time to this specific topic today because the whole landscape, it's completely fractured. Think about it. Online betting has radically shifted from, a niche physical destination into this massive, multi-billion-dollar digital shadow economy. And it is rapidly infiltrating our smartphones, our group chats, and, really concerningly, our youth culture.
So what actually happens when the casino literally lives in your pocket 24/7? The sheer scale of this threat is just wild. We aren't talking about planning a weekend trip to a physical casino anymore. We're talking about a ubiquitous, round-the-clock temptation. When the casino is right there on your phone, the friction that used to exist, between wanting to bet and actually placing that wager, is just completely erased. You can bet in bed, you can bet in class, or, sitting at a red light. The user interfaces are designed to be totally frictionless, which means your next wager is always just a quick thumb tap away.
And the results of this zero-friction access? Well, right now, 1 in 3 people are betting on sports before they even hit 21. 1 in 3. Research actually shows this early digital exposure severely increases the risk of lifelong gambling problems. So we really need to understand that this isn't just some minor trend anymore. It's become a completely normalized part of modern youth culture, and it's evolving into a massive public health crisis right under our noses.
Okay, so here's the game plan for today's explainer. First, we'll cover the digital gambling boom. Second, how these platforms target gamers and youth. Third, the way online betting actually hijacks the human brain. Fourth, the devastating financial fallout. And finally, number 5, how we're fighting back with AI.
All right, let's dive right into Section 1, the digital gambling boom and targeting youth.
Now, the industry has basically built a digital Trojan horse. Kids are bypassing age restrictions through these seemingly innocent avenues right on their personal devices. It usually starts with sweepstakes-style apps that are heavily marketed as just free-to-play. But then they start settling private sports bets on peer-to-peer apps, like Venmo and Cash App. Add in video game loot boxes, which, by the way, data shows act as a direct gateway to online gambling for roughly 1 in 5 purchasers. And you suddenly have these covert digital pathways. They completely normalize betting way before it's actually legally permitted.
And making matters even more complex, the whole social media ecosystem is basically pouring gasoline on the fire. A recent review of over 40 different studies found that influencers use interactive Twitch live streams and culturally relevant, pushy TikTok marketing to paint online betting as this legitimate side hustle. For vulnerable users under 25, this relentless digital exposure creates a total illusion of legitimacy. It essentially erases moral constraints and encourages highly risky financial behavior as if it were just another fun online trend.
So globally, we are caught in what experts call a severe regulatory lag. That's just the reality that technological innovation easily outpaces our laws. Take Pakistan, for example. Their 1977 Prevention of Gambling Act completely fails to account for smartphones or crypto. It's totally outdated. Meanwhile, over in the US, the 2018 repeal of PASPA rapidly unleashed sports betting apps across dozens of states. The result of all this? A massive legal gray area where an unregulated shadow economy thrives using anonymous digital wallets. Regulators are literally just left entirely outpaced by the speed of the internet.
Okay, moving on to Section 2, hijacking the human brain. Now there is a really stark contrast between the two main pathways to addiction here. First, you have the behaviorally conditioned pathway. This hooks people through intermittent wins and those engineered near misses flashing across their screens, which creates this false illusion of control. Then, on the other side, you have the biologically vulnerable pathway. This one exploits individual neurobiology, things like naturally high impulsivity and an altered sensitivity to rewards. Because these digital gambling apps are literally designed to keep your eyes glued to the screen, the barriers to play are so incredibly low that users are pushed down both of these pathways at absolute lightning speed.
Let's be real for a sec. This isn't just about a lack of willpower. It's almost like chemical warfare deployed right through your smartphone. The still maturing prefrontal cortex of a young adult is basically being bombarded by neurotransmitter dysregulation every single time they open a betting app. Dopamine drives that intense craving right after a near miss. Low serotonin and GABA? That leads to a complete loss of impulse control. And norepinephrine spikes your physical arousal. So this entire digital cocktail shifts behavior away from casual play straight into actual pathology.
That brings us to Section 3, the devastating financial fallout.
The real-world cost of this instant access is honestly staggering. In a massive study of roughly 7 million U.S. adults, researchers found a really stark divide.
There's a steep drop in the credit scores of individuals living in states with online sports betting access, especially when you compare it to the baseline states. Simply having online access drops credit scores by roughly 1% over just a few years. To put that in perspective, that is nearly 3 times the financial damage we see when only physical, offline gambling is introduced. It's a huge difference.
Now, because bankruptcies are pretty much a last resort option, it takes a few years to see the true fallout of carrying a casino in your pocket. But guess what? The data is catching up. 3 to 4 years post-legalization of online betting, researchers observed a devastating 28% spike in bankruptcies. And that's right alongside significant rises in debt consolidation loans and an 8% increase in debt just sent straight to collections. The 24/7 nature of mobile access is simply burying consumers in debt way faster than they can ever recover.
And going beyond personal ruin, this creates a total macroeconomic nightmare. When you're betting via a screen, the money feels abstract, right? Almost like you're playing a video game. But the losses are very real. And because so much digital betting occurs through unregulated offshore sportsbooks, billions of real dollars bleed straight out of local economies. By using anonymous cryptocurrencies, these platforms facilitate untraceable money laundering. They literally drain resources from the legitimate economy and funnel them straight into this global digital black hole.
All right, let's look at some solutions in Section 4, Fighting Back with AI.
To fight a digital problem, we absolutely need a digital solution. Platforms like Mindway AI are stepping up, using big data and neuroscience to detect subtle, complex behavioral patterns online. And here's the cool part. They aren't just looking at the raw dollar amount a user spends. No, they track 13 specific digital indicators. We're talking about things like rapidly fluctuating wagers, an increasing tolerance for loss, canceled withdrawals, and sudden shifts to late-night screen time.
And the accuracy here is pretty incredible. This AI algorithm successfully flags at least 87% of problem gambling cases that a trained human psychologist would detect. Think about it. It is physically impossible to have a human expert monitor millions of players 24 hours a day. So the AI fills that massive gap, assigning a risk score from 0 to 100 based entirely on an individual's digital footprint and screen behavior. It's a real game changer.
So how does this safety net actually deploy in real time? Well, first, the system anonymizes data for roughly 7.7 million active players. By compiling all this into analytical dashboards, compliance managers can instantly trigger tailored push notifications to interrupt a dangerous online gambling binge. It essentially provides this digital tap on the shoulder, a highly personalized algorithmic warning, right before the player crosses the financial point of no return.
But as great as it is, AI tech alone isn't a silver bullet. We need massive, updated legal frameworks that actually understand how the internet works today. Governments absolutely must step up and pass comprehensive cyber gambling prohibition acts. Right now, experts are calling for national interagency task forces and, this is absolutely crucial, mandating ISP-level technical blocks. We need to dynamically shut down access to these predatory offshore websites right at the network level.
And all of this leaves the industry with a really stark final ultimatum. It's perfectly summarized by Mindway's Stephen Oppie. Operators must proactively adopt these AI safeguards to protect vulnerable youth, or they are going to face catastrophic regulatory fines. The era of feigning ignorance? Yeah, that's over. Right now, uncontrolled problem gambling isn't just destroying communities, it's honestly a massive threat to the long-term sustainability of the digital betting industry itself. As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to literally look at your smartphone and ask yourself a really difficult question. With neurotransmitters hijacking our brains and billions of dollars instantly flowing offshore, can we ever truly regulate an addictive shadow economy that evolves at the speed of the internet?